Maestro styles, you know we got one. Right back like we left something. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey shot with the blade, you know we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, you know Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.
Yo, what up? What's going on, folks? Welcome. It's another episode of the Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. We're streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all that good stuff right there. Continue to follow us on Twitter at Barbershop SPOR2 and also on Instagram at Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast. I'm Trey Frazier, and that's the homie right there, Maestro Styles.
Yes,
What's
sir.
good, man? What's good? What's going on, man?
Hey,
How
man,
we feeling?
I'm tired as hell, man. I'm learning how to fake it. So do I look energetic to you? Do I look like I'm, you know what I mean?
No, you don't.
Like, fuck. I'm gonna work on my facial expression next week. So I come in here and be like, yeah. It's always good to kick it with you, though, man. I want to make sure that's clear, man. It's always good to kick it with the homie, man.
Looking forward to this every week, man. For certain, man. I guess we got to start, man. And look, we deserve it. Like Chief Rocker said, man. If we went down to the Pacers, you got the shirt on. So
yes, sir.
We deserve it. There's nothing else to really to say about that.
Hey,
but,
man, shout out Sports and Hills. You know what I'm saying? I did this for you, girl.
I don't even think she know for real.
It don't matter. She know that when she tunes into the podcast, she know I threw on the shirt for her. That's what I did.
And you know what's interesting about that? She's still gonna be like, I ain't giving the Pacers no chance. For three straight rounds, she gave the Pacers no chance. But that's either here nor there. But first shout out. Let me do this real quick. Brunson, Hart, OG, Julius Randle, Mitch Robinson, Bogdanovich, rest up, heal up, get back on the court, take some time away and come back, stronger than ever for next season. I believe two things can be true at the same time. And I've been saying it on this podcast ever since the season started. If it ain't conference finals, it's a disappointment. It's a failure, and it's a disappointment, bro. We went out sad, man. It's a failure of a season. In my eyes, it's a failure of a season. For many reasons. It's not just the team. And look, people are gonna say, well, this team was hurt. You had bodies dropping. It seemed like every game in the series, they had somebody, go down with an injury, not play, for an extensive period of time. That's, that's true. That's what happened to the Knicks. The bodies dropped, it is what it is. But for me, we talked about it. I mean, who's the dynasty right now in this league? There's no clear-cut dynasty at this point. The champs got knocked out a couple nights ago.
So let me take a couple of steps back because you went immediately to dynasty. So in your mind, there is no. So you're not one of the fans. Some would say, and I'm hearing it all over. Media, popular media and social media timelines that this is an excuse. Like y'all were injured. So not that this doesn't count, but this ain't like the letdown that if they were healthy, this would be a serious letdown. But because they were injured so much that did people like I'm cool with this. I'm cool with this loss. As cool as I could be with this loss because we know that for strength, this may have been a different scenario.
Of course, that's obvious. If this team were healthy, we beat the Pacers. We probably beat them in 5 games if this team is fully healthy. I'd say hell. I'd say just without Randall, I'm just saying just without Randall, I think we beat the Pacers in 5 games, full, healthy. Yeah, so I've heard the same things.
But
I've
you
heard
don't describe.
I don't. So I can understand. I can understand the excuse making. Well, no, let me take that back. I can understand people looking at it from a rational standpoint and saying, look, how are you going to beat a team when you got rotation players? I mean, you got 6 rotation players dealing with injuries at the same time. You got 3 of them out for the year, and then you lose a couple more toward the end of the series. I get that. I totally understand that. For me, again, it's about expectations. It's about setting those expectations. And, it's no different than when you work for a job. You guys have goals. And when you don't reach your goals, it's a disappointment. It's a failure. Just, like that.
What would you say to fans who say that's a little bit too black and white in sports? Because I mean, if you want to use the day job corollary, there are people that are, I guess, made for specific situations. They were hired for specific jobs, and when that person is not there, that specific job that they're in charge of does see a decline in most cases, because the person who's normally in charge of that specialty isn't there. So this is the same kind of situation. Yes, the results are the results, but what do you say to fans who say, yes, it is next man up, but there's a clear decline in production when certain people are out? I mean, and especially when you say this many. So it's like, okay, yes, the standard is the standard, but I mean, how would, and let's be clear, I had the Knicks winning irregardless too. So I'm not making it seem like I'm saying they deserve
right. Like you're not walking back anything you felt.
No. I feel like they should have beat the Pacers. But that's a logical rebuttal. Fans who say, well, look, we was missing Randall. We was missing
Bogdanovich, Mitch Robinson.
Thank you. Yeah. We
OG
missing all
Anunoby.
these players. We was missing all these players. And then I guess the important time you missed, Brunson went out. And the important time, I mean, I don't know if he went out when y'all was driving, trying to make a comeback on that. I'm not sure. But then he goes out. So once he go out, I mean, shit.
It's curtains, It's curtains, yeah. So, no question about it.
I mean, some people would say, I would assume that maybe you being a little tough on the Knicks because of a preseason standard. And we always make preseason standards, I think, or let me say, I know I always make preseason standards on if this team is healthy for the most part, they should do this. I don't think you saw the Eastern. If somebody told you in October that you'd be missing Mitchell Robinson, I know Anunoby wasn't there yet, but Randall, like if you was missing these players, I don't think in October you would have still been saying Eastern Conference Finals or bust.
In October, when the season starts.
When the season started,
When the season starts.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, well, to answer your first question, to the fans out there that are that say that the season was a success, I'm not going to call them crazy, because obviously when you lose that many players, like you said, you lose a lot of production. And then when you got to go deep into the bench, which I'll kind of get into my little issue with Thibodeau in a second, but when you start digging deeper into the depth of your bench, then at some point the levee's going to break. So I'm not going to call fans crazy about it. I like the fact that the building was full. The players walked off the court for the last time. Fans clapped in the stands. That's cool. Like that's, because they worked hard, man. Like these guys played. Josh Hart played 48 minutes for like 3 consecutive games. Like these guys played hard minutes. Like it's one thing when the star plays 40 plus minutes, but when 4/5 of the starting 5, play for 48 plus minutes or for 40 plus minutes, then, that's working hard. That's saying something. So the players deserve a round of applause from the fans. The fans, great job by Knicks Nation to do that. But for me, it's a personal thing for me, because I looked at this as them taking the next step from what they did last year, which was they got to the second round, had home court advantage. Surprisingly, we saw what happened with Milwaukee last year. And, now this year, look, the Bucks weren't healthy. The Sixers weren't healthy. Cleveland, ended up losing some players. I mean, in the East, the healthiest teams are the Pacers, Boston to a degree, because Porzingis is still out, and the Magic. Like those are the three playoff teams of the 8 that were healthy, that are the most healthy. So, look, the healthier team won the series. I think you just kind of put it, just like in terms just like that. The healthier team won the series.
Yeah, and I hear that, but healthier seems to leave out better teams. So you don't feel like Indiana was the better team?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't.
And by the way, I agree. I agree. Like
I don't.
That's why I didn't understand why you was so not to bring up the Celtics conversation, because it's not like y'all got to play them, but it's not like, that's why I felt like, man, I feel like you kind of underselling, like y'all could beat the Celtics. So that's why I felt like y'all was kind of underselling it. I felt like y'all had the potential to be the best team in the East. I mean, you certainly played like it in the East. I mean, I know the Celtics are there as well, but I mean,
Yeah. I mean, look, I watched the games, and yes, guys started going out. Bogdanovich went out in the Sixers series. Mitch went out in the Sixers series. So, and OG, I think that was, if you're looking for a turning point in the series against Indiana, it was OG in the hamstring when he had his best. I feel like that was his best game as a pro ever. When he dropped 28 points. And right after that, he grabs that hammy, and we didn't see him after that. But I give him props for trying to play in Game 7, though. He only played 4 minutes, and I think he put up like the first couple of 3-pointers, and then basically pulling a Willis Reed, just kind of going out there for 4 or 5 minutes, and then putting up a couple scores, and then he just couldn't go. He couldn't move. Like trying to defend Siakam, he just couldn't move, man. So he had to go out. He had to go out, man. But I'll tell you what my problem with Thibodeau is. And look, people are gonna talk about him getting an extension. I have some conflicting thoughts about that, but I will say this just in regard to this series and in particular the Sixers series. I don't feel like he played enough. I don't feel like he tried to stick with an 8-man rotation per se. I don't feel like Alec Burke came in the middle of the Pacers series. I think he had a couple of 18-point games off the bench. Cool production from a guy like that, right? Like that's cool production.
That's good production off the bench, by the way. That's not just cool.
Absolutely.
Production, yeah.
Absolutely. I felt like it was a little too late for him, to come into the series. I felt like we should have seen him earlier in the playoffs. When we were playing, like when Mitch went down, when Bogey went down, we was playing 6.5 guys, in the rotation, 7 guys in the rotation.
Who was the half?
So the reason why I say half is because that I forget what game it was, but I don't know if it was Deuce or if it was Precious. I think it was Precious. I think he only played like 9 minutes in the game. And then I think Deuce played like 30-something minutes. And that was it. That was it off the bench. So that's why I say half. Because I didn't feel like, he made 9 minutes off the bench is, like that's
contribution?
Huh?
I said you don't play 9 minutes is a good contribution off the bench?
Compared to 30 minutes off the bench?
But it's not about comparison. It's just about I'm on the floor. I'm not half a person just because I only played 9 minutes.
Well, no, I'm not saying half a person. I'm not literally saying he's half a person. I say half because of the minutes distribution from the bench. That's what I'm referring to.
Sure. So so six players. And by the way, I get you. I feel like if he heard that, he wouldn't he wouldn't care about that description of his play on the field.
He being the coach,
on the court. No, him being the player.
Precious, right?
Precious, yeah. I'll say what I'll say is, what I wonder is what do you feel like is the average amount of minutes per game for a bench player?
If you go on now, is this just in general? Or are we talking?
In general, yeah, in general.
In general, I'd say 15 to 20 minutes. I'd say.
Okay, so then he's like 6 minutes off. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's half. That's close to half of that, though. Like I said, 15 to 20. So if he's on the floor for 7-8 minutes, that's about half the time. So
yeah, I mean, I hear you. For certain, we all agree, or anybody would agree that Tibbs has this thing about not about player rotation. He's always had it.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new. I just feel like 9 minutes, depending on the player, is an acceptable amount of bench minutes.
Right. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming him.
Yeah, I know you're not blaming him specific, and you're not
for the injuries. Right. Like those things happen.
You're talking about Tibbs.
I'm talking about Tibbs. I'm not blaming Tibbs for the injuries. Like the hammy, like that happens. Like OG, I think that's the most minutes he's played in his career. Like I don't remember him playing that much when he was in Toronto. Josh Hart, playing all the I don't blame the coach for all those injuries, but what I will say is that when you started losing guys, it seemed like that rotation was getting smaller and smaller, and you didn't go to Alec Burke, earlier, like in the Philly series or earlier in the Indiana series. I'll mention another name, Shake Milton. Shake Milton got a lot of, I don't want to say got a lot of minutes, but Shake Milton was playing playoff minutes when he was in Philadelphia. I watched some of his games.
Yeah,
that guy couldn't get, 10 minutes. He couldn't get, some burn. So, and I'm only talking about just those two guys. Everybody else is G leaguers. Obi Toppin got a brother on the back end of the bench. He hasn't really gotten any, burn. I'm not talking about those guys. I'm talking about guys that historically we've seen them play real playoff minutes. Alec Burke has played playoff minutes. Shake Milton has played previously playoff minutes. Right. And neither one of those guys didn't really those guys. I feel like, and maybe the series doesn't end up, the same way either way, but I would have liked for him to at least keep that rotation, 8 guys. I'm not asking for 9. I'll say 8. I'll say 8 guys.
Yeah, I think playoffs time you don't really go above 8 anyway.
Right, so, you don't go above 8 unless you're the Pacers. Yeah. But other than that, you 8 is a good number for me. 8's a good number, but for the most part, it was 6, 7 sometimes. For the most part, it was 6 or 7. So that's what I didn't like about how the situation was playing out.
What do you say to the Kevin Garnett's of the world that says that he likes that style? Basically, run him into the ground. This is New York. You know what I'm saying? We go hard out here. Like that's the type of culture and attitude that's needed in New York.
I didn't hear him say that. Now I know he has.
Yeah, I just heard him since he was giving Tibbs all the praise as the coach, and why would anybody be talking about him going to another team or not getting extended or that type of thing. He had high praises. Obviously they have related ties from Boston, but he definitely had a lot of praise on Stephen A. Smith's show. I saw a clip of it before we got on, where he was like, I don't see how anybody would have a problem with Tom Thibodeau. He's doing everything. He's so good for New York. Like he feel like this was his journey was to get here to New York, like, you know, with Minnesota, Boston, and the other team he coached at Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, like he did all that to get here, and he feels like, I mean, the way he was saying it, you know, KG be on that whole passionate shit. He had me like, damn, like, yeah, maybe this is, you know, the perfect job for Tom Thibodeau. When you know, in New York, that's like the perfect coach to have based on what you guys like to call a New York state of mind.
Yeah. So two things, because I could appreciate that coming from KG. Number one, you know, Tibbs was on the Celtics coaching staff when they won the chip in 08. So that's coming from with KG, that's coming from a place of he know that kind of style that he like to coach. And number two, Tibbs back in the, what was that, I guess it was late 90s, that 97, 98 team. You know, Tibbs was on the staff. He was on Van Gundy's coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm not surprised hearing that from KG. Like, as far as like, you know, that kind of the culture per se. I get that there's a culture that the Knicks do have right now with Tom Thibodeau. Shout out to Chief Rocker and Jungle Brother, because they did a show yesterday morning and they asked me to come on for a few minutes to, you know, talk Knicks and stuff. And one of the things we were talking about was what you know, how we felt about the coach and stuff. And I said, well, it looks like he's going to get an extension.
Yeah.
And look, if I'm somebody in that building, preferably Leon Rose, I would sit down and have a talk with Thibodeau, and I would have a conversation about the rotation situation. I would definitely have that conversation. I also brought up the point that, look, I felt like they should have extended him last offseason. Because if anything, last year was kind of like and I get we were in the playoffs a couple of years prior to that. So, you know, since Tibbs really, you know, got here, since Tibbs and Randall got here was when we started, you know, on this run that we're on right now. I would have gave him the extension last offseason. And then we get to this point. I don't know. I feel like there might be a reason why he doesn't have an extension yet, because he's got 1 year left on his deal. Right. So if he didn't get the extension, he'd be a lame duck coach. Normally, guys don't play on those, you know, they don't coach on those kinds of contracts.
I mean, I get why that term exists, but Tom Thibodeau ain't gonna be no lame duck coach going into this next year.
No, I know. We agree. We agree.
Okay.
He's getting the extension. There's no question about that. I'm just wondering two things. Number one, why is it taking up to this point to do it when they could have did it last offseason? And number two, look, because kind of going back to the whole, you know, not playing guys off the bench kind of a thing. Leon Rose brought these guys here. He brought these guys here for a reason, you know. So if I'm just putting on the hat of Leon Rose for a second, and I'm watching this, and I'm watching the guys that I brought in not get playing time.
Right.
If I'm Leon Rose, I got to have that conversation with Tibbs. Like, yo, Tibbs, I got you these guys. Alec Burke was here 2 years ago, and you started him as the starting point guard. So why all of a sudden, you know, we bring him back? And look, I get it. He's probably a step slower. He's 32 years old. He's probably, you know, lost a little bit of it. But once Mitch went down, and like the moment those guys started going down was when he should have been somewhere in that rotation. I, as Leon Rose, would have that conversation with him. But all in all, to say, Tom Thibodeau is going to get the extension. And look, if the other side of it too is, hypothetically, let's say you do let him walk and go somewhere else, that culture, like that Knicks culture that he came with, that started this whole run, it's going to go right out the door with him.
That's a fact.
It's going to go right out the door with him. So, you know, the only guy, and I told Chief and Jungle this yesterday. I said, the only guy that I would say get rid of Tibbs for is Jay Wright. If Jay Wright's available, then do what you got to do. If he's not available, then you got to stick with Tibbs. That'd be the only guy. That'd be the only guy that I would say, oh, he's available. Hey Tibbs, we appreciate you for starting the culture, but we're going in a different direction.
You stand there. I mean, so now let's speculate.
Yep.
So you saying you would keep Ty Lue? You would prefer
not Ty Lue. Or are you saying Ty Lue is what you're saying?
Right. So in speculation, I'm just creating a narrative.
Gotcha.
You saying that you are comfortable with Tibbs. I mean, are you that comfortable with Tibbs where if a Greg Popovich wanted to coach in New York, you wouldn't kick him out on his ass?
If a Greg Popovich was available, of course.
So you kicking Thibodeau out on his ass?
Yeah. Now, obviously, Pop and Jay Wright, I think right now we're just in two different spaces right now. So that's why I haven't bought the whole Popovich thing into it, because he's already coaching the Spurs. Jay Wright is on the street, like literally.
Street, right. Yeah. I understood that. I was just more so saying that you were speaking about there's nobody in the open pool that you would take outside of a Jay Wright. I was also speaking. I was mostly trying to figure out, are you saying that because you're that much sold on Jay Wright, or more so you're that much sold on Thibodeau, or are you just saying that out of who's available, you just would prefer Jay Wright? So
it's for two of those things. You said Jay Wright being available. You also said I mentioned Jay Wright. Obviously, there's the Villanova connection. DiVincenzo, Hart, Brunson, like those guys was on his team when they won those 2 championships at Villanova. So that's why I bring his name up. And obviously you could tell when they play, they got the chemistry. So,
but clearly, you don't want Thibodeau to go anywhere.
No. I think
it's all hypothetical. If something were to happen,
yes. And I'm not backing off of the whole Leon Rose conversation. Also, like if I'm Leon Rose, I would definitely have those kinds of conversations with him in regards to the players that he's brought in that he thought could help this team.
So do you feel like that was the main thing? Like if you had to, obviously injuries being the number one reason you lost the series.
Yep.
Series. Number 2 would be rotation.
Number 2, you know what? I would have to say rotation. And it's more so because of who we played. We talked about Indiana. We talked about those guys going 9 deep. How do you, there's several different ways you can combat that. Obviously, if you got the best player in the series, that's enough to, maybe play on a 7-8 man rotation versus a 9-man rotation.
Right.
But, we had bodies dropping. So they still got their guys. They still going 9 deep, for 7 games straight. So, it's like, how do you combat that? Well, you got to try and play some guys off the bench that have a history of giving you some quality, that give you some quality minutes. So, and that didn't happen for a couple of players. One of them, not at all. The other one, came in, later in the series.
So last question in this conversation for me. Do the Knicks need a primary scorer?
I think they do. Okay. And it's not to say that guy has to be the best player on the floor, because Jalen Brunson is still going to be the 1A. Like Brunson, it's Brunson's team. But when I think about guys that could be available, I ain't gonna front, bro. If Phoenix decided, hey, KD, this ain't, we just gonna break this up, I would take KD on the Knicks. Mm-hmm. With what the Knicks have right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it would probably be, and I'm not comparing the two teams, but if KD were to come to the Knicks, the roster around him may be the closest thing to what he had with the Warriors since he left the Warriors, if that makes any sense.
I get what you're trying to say. I disagree just off the strength that I would say.
You would say it was Brooklyn that maybe had the closest to the Warriors as far as like roster? construction and stuff.
I think when you think about roster from first man to last man, I would. So here's what I'll say.
Okay.
The Knicks have better role players.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about so no, the Knicks aren't better than the Golden State team that KD went to. They had Steph Curry. They had Klay
Not
Thompson.
saying and like I said, I'm not comparing.
Yeah, right.
I'm just saying that since he left the Warriors, between Brooklyn, Phoenix, and if he were to come here, of those three, in terms of like the roster and who plays what and that kind of a thing, like this would be the closest fit. I think that's the word I'm looking for. The fit. I think the fit might be closest to the Warriors than any of the other two stops he's been at.
If I'm guessing, you brought up the Warriors because of the championships, because of what he walked into.
Not so much the championships, because of how he thrived in that system.
Okay.
Like he worked so well in that system. But like forget the chips. That offense was, it's hard to stop, man. Like
I think that I agree with you if we're talking about the Florida offense. And generally because again, it's just a bunch of role players. Like I think that it would work better in New York because they know who the big dog is. Like there ain't no question about who the big dog is. Like you could say that Steph Curry was the big dog in Golden State. Nobody would believe you, but you could say it. Right. You'd have a conversation. You would even say that on some nights when Klay get hot, then you need to go ahead and take a back seat and let him be hot while he hot. You know what I'm saying? So the only player on the Knicks who would possibly have that type of night is Brunson. So, you know what I'm saying? And with KD on that team, I would imagine he'd be the primary scorer. He'd be, they'd be running a lot of plays through him. So, Brunson, like that occasion where Brunson gets hot, KD would have a problem conceding because he the primary guy.
Right. Brunson would be your Curry. And again, I'm not comparing their let me use the right words here.
Right, because I wouldn't call Brunson Curry because then that's going to draw a comparison.
But again, I'm talking about the fit, like Kevin Durant's fit with the Knicks. So like Josh Hart would be your Draymond, DiVincenzo would be your Klay, Brunson would be your Curry. Like
I know you said you're not trying to compare it, but it sounds like a comparison when you say
I'm not comparing. I'm
gonna let you have it.
Again, I'm talking about fit. I'm talking about fit. That's all I'm talking about is fit. Okay. If you could just stay focused with that, then
that's a very I think we can have that.
I think we can have an understanding.
I think that New York is a better fit for KD than
Phoenix was.
I think than Golden State was. Again, I think than Golden State was. I think that would be a better fit. I don't think Brunson would have a problem being a secondary scorer and playing point guard.
Right, sure. Yeah. And again, kind of like it was in Golden State, it was Steph's team, but he knew when KD was hot and he needed the rock.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was Steph Curry's team when KD was there.
Oh, I don't know about that. But you're talking about as far as like who the best scorer was.
I'm talking about who the
not
best
so much as I'm just talking about whose team it is in terms of leadership, in terms of who's running the offense, that kind of that's what I'm talking about when I say it's his team. It was Steph's team because he was sort of the leader. He was responsible for the offense. Gotcha. This would still be Brunson's team in terms of being the leader, providing leadership, running the offense, making sure it flows, things like that.
I agree with that. Okay. I agree with that.
Yeah. So, but kind of getting back to like players that are available, like a KD, a DeMar DeRozan, if he's, out there. Would I take DeMar DeRozan? Yeah, I would take DeMar DeRozan at this point. As long as we're not giving up Julius for him, I would take DeMar DeRozan.
Right. Yeah, that wouldn't be bad if you're keeping Julius Randle. I mean,
Yeah,
I agree with that.
yeah. No,
I agree with that.
absolutely, absolutely.
So you agree that they need a primary score.
Yeah. They could use another score for certain. They definitely could. Now, a lot of fans are saying, hey, let's just run it back. I mean, obviously, with all the injuries and stuff, we didn't really get a chance to see this team, full strength. I think we went 14-2 in the month of January when we acquired OG from the Raptors.
Yeah.
And that combination of OG, Randall, Hart, Brunson, and Mitch. Well, no, not Mitch. Mitch was out already. Hartenstein, like that combination was like we smoked the Nuggets, we smoked the Wolves during that stretch. I think we smoked I forget who it was. It was some team out west. But yeah, we was on a run during that month, and then Julius got hurt, and then OG went out for that certain amount of stretch. So some fans are just saying, hey, if we don't get not if we don't get the score, they just basically saying, hey, let's just run it back because we might have something special here if we don't have these same amount of injuries again. And I could understand that concept, but I would like to see the Knicks. I would like to see the Knicks be in play for another score if that guy's available.
Sure. So we spent a long 20-25 minutes talking about the losers. Let's talk about the winners, the Indiana Pacers. Look, I would love to sit here and talk about. I've heard already where somebody feel like the Pacers are going to steal Game 1. I don't know.
I don't think that.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe that.
I don't think that.
But I'll ask you. How many games? Who wins? How many games? I'm sure you got the Celtics like I do, but how many games?
I got the Celtics in 6.
Okay.
I got the Celtics in 6. I don't have them winning tonight, but I do have them winning Game 2.
You have the Pacers winning Game 2.
I have the Pacers winning Game 2, and then I think I see a split in Indiana for Games 3 and 4. So I see the series getting tied 2-2. Coming back to Boston for Game 5, and then Boston will get the final 2 games.
Okay.
A lot of folks aren't giving the Pacers. I mean,
I'll be honest with you. I'm not giving them.
You should see the coverage, man. You should see the coverage.
I'm calling the gentleman's sweep, so that's just one game short of what you're saying. I'm calling the gentleman's
5.
sweep.
You got Celtics in 5. Yeah. I don't know, man, because you got to think about the Celtics run. And look, let's be clear. The Celtics were the better team all season long, 64 wins. But let's be honest. Miami without Terry Rozier and Jimmy Butler, that wasn't nothing. They probably should have swept the Heat with what the Heat put out there.
Yeah, but we're not about to sit here and talk about
Cleveland, I mean, it wasn't a lot of resistance. The Celtics haven't really been tested against a healthy team yet.
The Celtics been in the playoffs for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's not like the nucleus of this team is still here.
But why are we talking about 3-4 years? I'm just talking about this run. I'm just talking about this playoff run.
Because when you look at that roster, this ain't no new roster per se. This is the core members of this team.
Well, when you say roster, you're just talking about Tatum and Brown and Derek White, right? You're just talking about
Horford. But what I'm saying is that there hasn't been a whole lot of players coming in and out. Marcus Smart is gone, but they replaced him with Drew Holiday.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not.
And they got Kristaps. Like that's
my point is that we're not
big jump.
We're talking about people. We're talking about players who have playoff experience. So it's not like these dudes don't know how to turn it on when it's time to turn it on. This roster is a roster full of playoff players for the most part.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not about to sit here and say that they're not battle tested because this one particular season, they didn't have to play tough competition. They've been doing this for years. Most of these players. Majority of these players on that roster have been doing it for years. So I don't see the whole.
Well, the Nuggets have been doing it for years, and they just got knocked off by a team that hasn't really been doing it for a number of years.
We're talking about it. We're having a conversation about lack of competition because they haven't been battle tested, not just lack of competition. To sit here and say that the Celtics aren't battle tested, I don't think that's
I'm talking about this, but I'm talking about just this playoffs. I'm just talking about this playoffs. I got you about previous years. I'm just talking about this particular playoff run.
So my rebuttal to that is that I would be with you if a whole bunch of the Celtics team was gone. And, we're talking about a whole brand new team. You know what I'm saying? Again, we're not talking about a brand new team here. We're talking about Kristaps Porzingis. We're talking about adding Kristaps Porzingis, who was in the playoffs with Dallas. We're talking about Drew Holiday, adding Drew Holiday, who was there in the playoffs with Milwaukee. And everybody else has had playoff experience in the past 2 years for shits and giggles.
Okay.
With this team, with this Boston team. I mean, hell, even the coach. I mean, like, it's hard for me to say they are not battle tested based only on what happened this year when I know what's happened in prior years.
Okay,
I can't eliminate those other 2 years because this is a new team when this team, the same players for the most part are there.
Okay, so let me rephrase it this way. This Pacers team in these playoffs that's about to play tonight, this team, is that team better than that version of the Heat that Boston just played that knocked out a couple weeks ago? No Jimmy, no.
You said
Terry
so basically
Rozier.
You're leading to the Pacers are a better team than the Heat, and this is the best challenge they've had all playoffs.
Yes,
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying you said they aren't battle tested.
Well, that's my point. That's why I said let me say it this way so you can understand that I disagree. And again, we're just talking about one game difference in the series here. You got them in 5, I got them in 6. I don't know that they're gonna get the Pacers out the same amount of games they just got out them other 2 teams that had a bunch of injuries and really wasn't really a real threat. Like, I'm taking the Pacers over that version of the Cavs that we just saw without, Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. I'm taking the Pacers over that team.
Yeah, and again, we're talking. I mean, literally, what we're debating about is a game. So I'm with you. Right. I just didn't battle tested is what was getting me. Like I just can't say. And you said you're framing it. So I'm not
right. I was just framing it to this postseason run. They haven't been tested this postseason run. But I got you in terms of what they've done over the course of several years leading up to this point. But I'm just talking about this run. Like when you think about the Knicks run right up to this point, that was a test against Philadelphia. That wasn't a 7 seed, bruh. Like we know why the Sixers were a 7 seed. Joel Embiid missed about 3 months of games. Joel Embiid there, that's easily a top 4 seed. That was a rough series that we had to go up against. Okay. So what if Jimmy, I guarantee you, if Jimmy and Rose was in that lineup for the Heat, that series would have gone about 6-7 games.
Yeah. Okay. I just again. I mean, because you saying that, but I could say that. I mean, why do we believe the Pacers? Look, the Pacers are a good team. Don't take it like I'm gonna go and say they're a good team. Mm-hmm. They're not a good team, but they like what's so different between the Pacers and the Cavs is what I'm getting at. Outside of injuries,
what's so different?
Right, like why do you feel like the Pacers? Let me frame the question better. Okay. If the Pacers, if the Cavaliers were healthy,
yep,
that series goes differently, correct? Because
I think, and I said it, and I'll stick to it. I thought they could have got one more game in that series.
If they were healthy.
If they were healthy, I thought they would have got well, if Donovan didn't miss those last 2 games, I thought they could have got one more game. Because remember, Jared Allen, they lost him in the previous series against the Magic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would have given him one more game.
And then if you're talking about Jerry Allen being in the lineup, I mean, I'm not saying it goes to Game 7. I don't know. I don't want to even project in the past.
Yeah,
But we know what Jerry Allen means to that team.
Yes.
We know what he means to that team defensively. So I mean,
Absolutely.
shout out Ellie Broadus. He might feel like the Cavaliers could have beat the Celtics if they was fully healthy. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I say all that to say, I don't know that the Pacers are much more competition right now than the Cavaliers were in the prior series. In the prior series.
I'll say the thing that's different about Indiana versus Cleveland. I'll say this. Obviously, the Pacers are healthy, obviously.
Yeah.
But they can go 9 deep on that bench. Like TJ McConnell is a dog. Like, you know, he's a pest. Them guys off the they know how to
they're well coached. They're gritty. I'm with you.
Yeah, and Halliburton, and look, he's not there yet. Like, I'm not about to put him on a mountainside or anything like that. But that guy, like, when he gets it going, he can score. When he can get guys involved, he can do that. Miles Turner can knock down threes. You know, similar to what Porzingis can do. Like, Miles Turner can do that as well. Siakam, I don't think he had a great series against us, but, you know, that's a guy you can't count him out. And this leads me to my question. And, you know, we'll kind of combine the Western Conference into this also. Of the 4 coaches, who you taking? Or should I say, how do you rank the 4 coaches left in the tournament?
Mazzulla.
Finch. So you got Mazzulla.
No. I'm naming the coaches so I know how I'm ranking them.
Okay.
Mazzulla, Finch.
I was helping you name them actually, but
gotcha. Thank you. Mazzulla, Finch.
Yep.
J Kidd, and
the Pacers coach, Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle.
How
am I ranking them? And clearly we're talking about this season.
We're talking about yes, I guess you could say we're talking about this season, but
sure, the past has something to do
with the playoffs, right? The past has something to do with it, but when it comes to these conference finals now,
I'm gonna go. I can't go Finch first. That's disrespectful.
Nah, I'm not going Finch first. For me, it's between Kidd and Carlisle.
I was leaning towards Carlisle, but I'm trying to compartmentalize players from coaches. I'm going Rick Carlisle. Mm-hmm. He's doing the most with the least. I'm going with Rick Carlisle. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go Mazzulla. I'm going to go J Kidd. Then I'm going to go Finch, even though I feel like Finch might be taking his team to the finals.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah. Okay. So you said Carlisle, Mazzulla, Kidd, and Finch.
Yes.
Okay. So
you would switch Finch and Mazzulla, I'm assuming.
No, I would keep Mazzulla at 3. I would keep Finch at 4. I think I would put Kidd. I put Kidd over Carlisle. I don't know why, but I feel like
I can't do that.
I feel like, and I understand why you're doing that. I understand that. I don't know. Maybe it's because, and look, Carlisle's got the championship. So
Carlisle coached Kidd.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's got the championship. But and Carlisle's been doing this a long time with other teams as well. I don't know. I feel like I don't know, for some reason
Hold on, tell me your lineup. Tell me your
Kidd. So Kidd, Carlisle, Mazzulla, Finch.
Yeah.
So my only difference between you is number 1 and 2. That's really our only difference.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, because like with respect, Jason Kidd got what's his name on his team? Got Doncic on his team,
Yeah.
And then when he wants to have an off game, he got freaking
Sure.
Kyrie.
And I thought you was trying to compartmentalize the players from the coaches, and yet we mentioned in the players.
But that does have a thing to do with coaching. It's easier to coach players who get it. You know what I'm saying? When you got talent, that's just a thing. You know what I'm saying? Look, man. Like I said, man, there is a skill in getting production in the playoffs 9 players deep. That's a skill. That comes from experience. I can't. Carlisle got to get his props for that. He's like, you know,
and I don't want to disrespect I don't want to disrespect Halliburton like he's not because I think he's right now I think he's giving you star production. It's just that he's not Luka, he's not Tatum, and he's not Ant-Man. I think that's the one thing we're kind of holding against him.
Say that one more time. I
think Halliburton to me is he's a star. I think he's a star right now. He's a star. He's just not Ant-Man. He's not Tatum. He's not Luka.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold that against him.
He's not Kyrie.
I don't want to hold that against him. I don't want to act like he's I don't want to act like he's a role player. You know what I'm saying? He's not a role like Halliburton for that team. He's not a role player.
Yeah, he's a star of Indiana. But at the same, but that's just it. And you know that for me, that speaks more to Rick Carlisle. You know what I'm saying? Like this, Halliburton been there for a little minute. He's just taking his time. A couple years. He's been developing them. He's been, developing his point guard, developing his star player. I don't even know if he believes that Halliburton is, a star player I don't think he believes that he's a star player to the tier of Ant-Man or Luka Doncic.
No.
Or, you know what I'm saying? I think he's took his time to groom a good point guard, much like he did with Jason Kidd.
Right, and let's be clear, Halliburton was touted heavily coming out the draft. I don't want to
number 4 overall, I believe. So
something like that, right? Yeah. So I don't want to turn him into he was a guy that nobody was expecting he would do this. Like people predicted that this guy was going to be doing what he's doing now.
Yeah, I agree. Let me show some comments here. Because this is clearly a I think you might have got there before me, but this is clearly a Knicks fan.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Reese. Shout out to you, man.
Hey,
appreciate you. Hey, don't mind Maestro. He's just because he has no dog in the fight. He's just being a troll. He's just being a troll right now.
My team is some trash, so don't worry. My team is some trash.
But he does put another comment in here talking about trying to get Donovan Mitchell. And
I don't know if that's the guy you want though.
Yeah, I would agree. And I see you, Reese. I wouldn't be highly upset to run it back. I would just say I think Donovan Mitchell at this point, I'm not sure he would fit this offense right about now. I'm not sure he would fit that.
In fact, I'm confident that he would not.
Yeah. Just based on what we've seen these 2 years.
You need a wing scorer. You don't need somebody that demands that needs the ball, that needs to
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
and Donovan Mitchell is not playing the 2. Sorry, I don't know what. He's not playing the 2. You bring Donovan Mitchell, he's playing the 1. So,
what does he play in Cleveland? The 2 or the 1?
He plays the 2 with
Garland, right? Because Garland plays the 1, right?
Yeah. But let's be clear, but Garland does concede and lets him bring the ball up. You know what I'm saying?
No question.
Let's be clear on what happens in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he did that in Utah too, I thought. Donovan Mitchell brought the ball up some in Utah.
I'm also pretty sure he was the 1 in Utah. Who was their point guard?
Mike Conley was the point guard. When Donovan Mitchell was there.
You're absolutely right.
But Conley has allowed Donovan to bring the ball up some.
Okay, so
if you remember.
Right. So here's my thing then. Do you is Brunson about to give the ball up?
No.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So sure, we can have that
No.
conversation.
You would be turning Donovan Mitchell into a 3 almost in a sense. Like you're not doing that in this offense. Not to him. You're not doing that to Donovan Mitchell for real. And I get it. They're two different kinds of players. I get that.
Yeah, for sure. But two different players in the sense that Garland is willing to give the ball up, and Brunson ain't, and he shouldn't be.
Right. Brunson's proven at this point.
Yeah, right.
At this point. So, I mean, think about it this way. I watched Game 5 against Boston when Mitchell was out, and everybody was looking for Garland to kind of step his game up. Well, he couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for him. So,
and I like Garland, by the way, but he's a point guard more closer to the the point guard that distributes. He'll get your point, but he distributes,
and he does that well.
And he does it well.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that for certain. So you going with Carlisle? You got Carlisle?
I got Carlisle. No, I got. Did I say Kid? I thought I said.
I thought you said Carlisle. Did you put Missoula at second?
I put Missoula at number 2. Yeah, I put Missoula at number 2.
Okay. So yeah, we agree on. We disagree on. I guess 3 different spots. I think the only thing we agree on is that Finch is at the bottom of that.
And I think that's just experience.
Yeah, Carlisle's the more experienced coach. Missoula is kind of fresh. And Kid does have. I forgot he coached the Bucks a few years ago, and coached the Nets for that 1 year.
Yeah, had the Bucks looking like a squad.
Right, and that's when Greek Freak wasn't Greek Freak yet.
Right.
You know? So I think that's why I got him number 1 for real on my list. I think going back to when he had the Bucks and it was kind of getting that team to do its thing, because that was kind of a lesser talented team then. But
then they got rid of him. Like
they did.
Yeah.
They did. But
not only did they get rid of him, they got rid of him and then won the chip.
Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. But look, Carlisle, I'm not mad at number 1, being Carlisle. Like Carlisle's got the ring and he's got the most coaching experience of the 4. I'm not mad at that.
Hey man, we don't tolerate Kevin Durant slander around here.
40-year-old Durant.
We don't tolerate that.
Nah.
I mean, look. Sure, maybe y'all think y'all want Booker. Maybe y'all think that. And I wouldn't be. I mean, look, I think you would be pleased if you got Booker or Durant. But who would you, in your mind, is a better fit, Booker or Durant for the Knicks?
Oh, Durant.
Yeah,
because Durant's going to give me the height. Durant's going to get me the rebounds, and he's going to play some defense. So some.
I'm about to say I don't know about that defense.
Some. Yeah. I mean, KD could still rebound now. Like,
I'm with you.
Let's be clear about that. I mean, I'm thinking about the Wolves right now, right? And I'm thinking about how the architect of the Wolves that built the team together is the same guy that put Denver together. Look at what the Wolves got. They got guys that got length. 6'10" guys. They got guys that play defense and can do so many different things. So hell yeah, I take KD on the Knicks. Hell yeah.
I think I agree with you on that.
Hell yeah. Now the question is going to be for the Knicks, compensation, and I don't have really time to really get into all the minutia as far as that's concerned. I mean, we'll see how that plays out if he's available. We'll see what the Suns do. You saw them get Budenholzer to coach the team.
Yeah. I don't know. Look, I mean, I'm gonna tell you. I mean, clearly it's off the loss. But I mean, KD don't want to be there. Bradley Beal's unhappy. All these things are starting to come out after the loss. So I don't know. I don't know what needs to happen. They don't have a point guard. I mean, I'm sure they could fix that, but you know, it's just a lot going on. It's just a lot going on right now. So you know, I don't know how I feel about it. I know Budenholzer is going to have to put a team together, and I don't know necessarily how he's going to do that with all that money to 3 players.
Yeah, I don't know if they're over the cap or not.
They're definitely over the cap. Ain't no question.
They over? Okay.
Ain't no question.
Yeah, because they just gave who they just give money to? They gave money to Grayson Allen, I think.
Which, by the way, I like Grayson Allen with the Suns, but no.
They need a point guard, man. They need a point guard.
Let's talk Western Conference while we're there. So the champions have been dethroned by the Timberwolves. And look, man, to those who want to have the conversation about dynasties, I tend to agree with you that I'm not sure we're going to see a dynasty. At least well, let's say this. Let's pump the brakes just a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know that we don't know that Denver isn't going to become a dynasty yet. We don't know that.
We don't. I agree with that.
We don't know that. Mm-hmm. With that being said, I don't think they're going to become a dynasty. Okay. Look, Joker is just going to get older.
Joker's in his prime.
Joker is in his prime, but he is still going to. But he's still what, 28, 29?
I'd say 28-ish. Yeah, I'd say about 28.
28, 29. So, yes, I tend to believe that your prime is from 26 to, say, 32.
Okay.
That's kind of my gauge.
Okay.
So, so maybe we'll get 3 years, 4 years of prime Joker. But, I mean, right this second, who you going to bring in to deal with the Timberwolves? Because look, man, shout out to Rudy Gobert, shout out to Karl Anthony Towns, but that was tough for Rudy Gobert.
Nas Reed, yeah,
and Nas Reed as well. Yeah, that was tough.
6th man of the year. Yep.
Yeah, that was tough for Rudy Gobert. But Ant-Man is here. Let's be clear about it. He's here. Like, you know, I'm not going to go off the ledge and say he's the best player in the NBA right now. That would be buffoonery,
right?
But he's here, and he clearly took them out. He clearly had the the youthful vigor to say, "Hey, I want to cut his head off," and he succeeded. I mean, there's the videos of him pointing at the scoreboard and Joker taking exception to it and all that, like
waving bye-bye to the fans. And
these are moments that, you know, kind of write in the history books of rivalries or when a dynasty ended to when one began. That was the type of moment. That was the type of moment that we might look back in history and say, when Joker was the man, this might have been the very moment when he was dethroned. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying that it could be. With that being said, like I said, we just don't know. I want to say shout outs to the Timberwolves for getting them out of there. I know they missed Bruce Brown. I'll tell you that.
And Jeff Green.
But Bruce Brown, no slight to Jeff Green, but Bruce Brown, you know, that hurt.
Jeff Green could defend. Sure. I don't want to slight him. But
he wouldn't have did nothing. He wouldn't have did a thing with Anthony Edwards. Respectfully.
Maybe not, but they might have still won the series.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see Jeff Green being the reason they would have won the series.
Well, I'm not saying he'd be the reason. I'm just saying he'd be part of
I mean,
a system to where it could lead to them, you know, getting over the series. Let's remember they blew a 20-point lead in this game 7. The Nuggets look like we about to see a repeat. For a moment it looked like.
But who turned up? Because I know Anthony Edwards didn't turn up. It was Cat that turned up.
It was the defense for real. I know that's not flashy, but defensively, you can watch this game and you can say the Wolves defense, you know, clearly got them back in this game. It was a combination of things. Nas Reed off the bench. Cat was not in this game for about maybe the last 6-7 minutes of the fourth quarter. Naz Reid played the rest of that game. So yeah, you got contributions from Ant-Man. What's the kid that start with him in the backcourt? Jaden McDaniels. You got some
That's the guy who they talked about because he scored. I thought he had the high in that game.
I believe he had the high in the game.
I thought he had the high in that game. So I asked because Jeff Green wasn't stopping that in the game 7 is what I'm saying. So yes, Jeff Green. I don't think he would have been an integral part of this series like you're saying he might have been.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning to. Shout out to the Timberwolves who not to jump the gun. I think they beat
the Mavericks.
The Mavericks. Thank you. I think they beat the Mavericks, which is interesting because I wanna say Luka Doncic, like this your time, like
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to say Luka, like this is the time where you ran into your hurdles, early in your career, but the Timberwolves should if you are who you are, they should be the team that you could find your way out of the series. You would think. But
it's funny because I'm glad you mentioned Luka because I'm having a hard time trying to figure out who to pick in this series. I have no idea who I want to pick in this series. So for you, I'll ask you, how long did it take you to determine that you think the Wolves are going to win the series? Like
it's about 80% bias because I want to see Anthony Edwards become a superstar. It's about 80% bias.
Okay.
Look, but I can't. But 20% of it is Rudy Gobert is a defensive player. Like what I'm saying. Like they're gonna have to deal with him in the paint. Kyrie is Kyrie. Don't get it twisted.
Right.
But he don't want to keep having to make circus shots.
They don't. And Dallas don't got the bigs that's gonna really draw Rudy out the paint.
I can see Cat having a 18 to 22 point series.
Yeah. With respect to Derek Lively, because he's had an amazing series against the Thunder and PJ Washington. With respect to those guys, but I don't know that those guys are going to be able to be threats on the perimeter to get Rudy to come out the paint.
Yeah, shout out to Brittany Renner, baby daddy, but nah, this ain't it.
Yeah, nah. But Luka's enough. Like Luka is enough.
Luka should be enough. He should be.
And Kyrie. Luka and Kyrie should be enough.
100%. They should be enough. And when I'm thinking about it, I don't know. Like I said, it's 80% bias because I want Anthony Edwards to get his now. No homo.
I like Ant-Man. I like Ant-Man.
I'm trying to tell you, between Ja Morant, man, he really got
fumbled it. Yeah.
He really did. He got some what's the word I'm looking for? Reconciliation to do, some rebranding to do. Because Anthony Edwards stepped right into his role.
Yeah. So back to the dynasty, I guess, convo, because you alluded to the Nuggets and the Joker maybe having about 3-4 more years of his prime. And Ant-Man finally, being here. Like I don't want to say he's arrived, but he knocked you out.
He knocked on the door.
Right. He knocked you out. As the defending champs, he knocked you out. Are you alluding to maybe the Wolves being a dynasty because of this? Or
well, how do you build a dynasty? The first thing you need to build a dynasty is a superstar. That's the first thing you need.
Yeah. I gotta win a chip. Right?
Obviously. Yep. But obviously, we don't have a conversation without you winning one. But you don't have it's rare. Let me say it's rare you have a conversation about building dynasty without having a superstar player. You rarely win a championship without a superstar player. Yep. So so they got that. They got that part. They got what I believe to be a superstar player in the making. I think that they can hold on to Cat or Rudy Gobert with this newfound success, even if it's at a pay cut.
Right.
Yeah,
and I was gonna say that too. I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's always been this talk about the Wolves having to part ways with Cat when the season ended because of money situations, the cap, and it turning the team over from Karl Anthony Towns to Ant-Man now.
Right.
So, but I feel like if the Wolves want to be on the way to becoming a dynasty, I don't know that letting Cat go is the first step to doing that. Like,
well, obviously, if you could keep him, you would want to keep him. It could literally go both ways. But I don't think you need Cat to have a dynasty. I don't believe that. He's a secondary player. You can go get a secondary player that would want to play with the likes of Anthony Edwards. So I don't think you need Cat to have a dynasty. I think you need to keep Anthony Edwards happy, and if you can keep Cat happy, then keep him happy. But I don't think players like Mike Conley is fine. I think he'd be fine there for the next 4 or 5, until they found somebody.
Mike Conley up there too. Mike Conley, 36 years old, I think. Yeah,
so
he up there.
But I think you can hold on to him and let him kind of bring in the new guy. Like Mike Conley is playing basketball. Like he's not the super flashy, none of that. Never been really
playing his role. Playing his role. He's doing it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely shout out to him. Naz Reid is a guy that you're going to kind of bring along. They paid him. They paid him.
Right.
They paid him before the season started. Yeah.
Right.
There was some Knicks fans that was telling me that they wanted Naz Reid.
How many years? So what in your mind? When are you officially a dynasty? 3-peat is the obvious answer, but they're not going to I don't believe they allow 3-peats in the NBA anymore. So,
right.
So, how is a dynasty defined?
I'm wondering if they're allowing back-to-backs at this point, because now we're gonna have a 6 different team win the championship 6 years in a row.
Yeah,
that hasn't happened since the 70s, I think.
70s,
so.
Right.
And I'll say it again. There's no clear-cut dynasty in sight. Like there's nothing in sight. I think we're gonna realize there's gonna be a dynasty there is if that one off-season move. Like remember when Durant went to the Warriors?
Yeah.
I think that's when we realize, oh shit, Warriors about to be a dynasty. Like ain't nobody gonna be able to break through for a while.
Yeah.
I think when LeBron went to the Heat, I think that's when we realized, oh snap, it's going to be a while before somebody could break through a little bit.
And we talked about that. I know we talked about this with somebody recently. Closest teams to a dynasty. You got to put Denver there because the Joker's there. You have to put them there at least. Whether you believe they're the closest to it or not, that's up to you. But you got to at least put them there. I say the Timberwolves. I say
I'm not gonna mention teams that haven't won yet.
Okay.
The Nuggets is a good choice. Nuggets is a good one.
Okay.
The Warriors, we think that's done.
Well, ain't no thought. That's done.
They
were already a dynasty.
They were already a dynasty, but I'm just going back the last 5 champions. Who won it before them? Milwaukee. Milwaukee.
No. Sure, could they? I don't know. I don't believe
they got to make some moves. Like they really need to really figure out what the roster construction is going to be.
Like you bring Dame Lillard, and I mean it would appear that Dame Lillard came this was a stopgap team in between years. It seems that way anyway. So bring in
they made that move to win the chip.
Right, and they're not winning the chip. They didn't win the chip.
Right, they're not this year. I mean, next year, who knows what happens next year? Maybe Doc Rivers, gets his head out of his ass, and they're
not winning a championship so long as that he's on that coaching that team. not happening.
Okay, I will, for the sake of argument, I'll put Milwaukee on the list as long as Giannis is there. I'll put them on the list for the sake of argument.
I guess you have to out of respect, sure.
And look, Giannis is he's in his prime. He's still in his prime.
Giannis is still Giannis.
Lakers, no.
And
the Raptors, obviously, that's been a dying team for last couple of years. So
who won before that? Before the Raptors, the Warriors.
Warriors did.
Yeah.
So
if we're respecting teams, I guess the short is that we're not getting no dynasty no time soon. Okay.
And that's what makes this Knicks loss so disappointing because
so you don't even
part of it. It's part of it. It's part of it.
Yes, it's a part of it. So you feel like if the Knicks won next year, do they? Do you? I mean, no, you can't. I mean, you can't even really start a dynasty. When do you? Okay, here's a better question. When do you start dynasty talk?
I think you start dynasty talk. Obviously, you get the first one, and then
but you don't start it after the first one.
Huh?
You do not start dynasty talk at the first championship. We agree with that, right?
I guess it depends on how you look at it, because obviously you got to bring the same core back. You got to bring, certain X factor role players back. You got to keep, some of the team together. Core players got to be in their prime. You have to work. You have to work towards getting the second chip. Obviously, so yes. Okay, if you get the second one in a row, then yes, the dynasty talk, goes through the roof. It goes through the roof once you get it. But in order to get the second chip in a row, you got to talk about off season. You got to talk about team. You got to talk about who those core players are. Are they in their prime? Like I'll give you an example of a team that won, but you knew off the bat that they weren't going to be a dynasty. There's two examples that come to mind. The Dallas team that won in 2011, and obviously the Raptor team that won a few years ago. Like after they won, in your head, you said to yourself that these teams are not going to be eventual dynasties moving forward. It was just too much. It was just too much going on.
I agree.
The Mavericks had, older players and stuff like that. So I think you have to determine if you're a team that wins it for the first time, you got to figure out, is our core players in their prime? Can we bring back some role players? It's that talk that's got to lead to, okay, can we really make this happen? And then once you get the second one, that conversation, it goes through the roof.
So dynasty talk in your mind starts after the second championship.
Yeah.
Okay. Not when you're crowned a dynasty, but when the talk starts.
When the talk starts, yes.
Second year.
Second championship. When the talk starts.
But second championship, how many years do you have to in between years? Does it have to be back to back? Because it doesn't have to be back to back.
Yeah, see, like, how do you view the Spurs? Do you view the Spurs as a dynasty?
They're 100% a dynasty.
Okay.
100%.
Okay, because for years I've never known how I felt about that, because they always used to say if you don't go back to back, you're not a dynasty.
Yeah, and I disagree with that because
they won 3 in 5 years.
Right. So like if you lose, you win, but you lose the next year. But it's not like they weren't in the playoffs and they just fell off the cliff.
Right.
Hell, even if they fell off the cliff but still won 3 championships in 5 years, that's dynasty talk. Sorry, I don't care nothing about what you're talking about. If you win 3 championships in 5 years, that's dynasty talk. That's a dynasty. That's a dynasty.
Right. If you took the Patriots' second run of championships, not the first 3, but the last 3 by itself, because that was 3 in 5 years also.
Right. Dynasty. And let's be clear, the Patriots were a dynasty from the first Super Bowl all the way to Tom Brady leaving.
Yeah, the 6th one. Yeah.
Right. So that's just what that is. So it's not about back to backs. It's about it is about a certain amount of championships in a certain amount of years. It is about that. And and I think it's just that. So
Mm-hmm.
so in a 5-year, in a 5-year span, is 2 enough, or does it have to be 3?
It's got to be 3.
Got to be 3. Okay.
Got to be 3. If you're gonna be a dynasty, it's got to be
3
3.
and 5. 3. So 3.
Because it could be 3 and 4. It could be 3 and
Sure.
4. It could be 3 and 5.
6? Could it be 3 and 6?
I think it could be 3 and 6.
Could it be 3 and 7?
Ooh. If you got the same players, and I know that's a hard thing to say because in 7 years things change. But if the core's there, then I gotta say yeah.
Okay.
If the core's there, I gotta say yeah.
Okay. That's it. I do want to give a shout out to the Dallas Mavericks for reaching the Western Conference Finals, but I also want to give a shout out to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Hell of a season. Young core. Mm-hmm. I know I'll stick to the dynasty talk where you said if you don't win a chip, then we won't talk about it. But so I won't say dynasty talk, but I will say that it's just another team that has put together a nice young core.
Future contender. Players. We can say future contender.
Sure.
For a championship.
I won't even go that far. I'll say that they are a good young team.
You don't think so?
I'm not because I don't think so. I just won't go that far yet. I just won't.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just but good team, young core.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it together. Keep it together. Don't James Harden this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who James Harden is in this situation, but
it's funny you say that because Sam Presti is still the general manager.
I know
of the Thunder.
I know, and by the way, he should be. Yeah. But yeah, don't James Harden this one. Don't lose out. Don't lose out on a James Harden because you don't want to pay $2 3 million, $4 million. Don't.
But they can let Josh Giddey walk. I'll just say that.
I don't know. If Josh Giddey becomes
I'll just say that.
If he becomes fucking James Harden, I don't know. He won't be. I know. I know he won't be. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But I'm saying, like, don't. I'm just saying, don't let $2 or $3 million.
Sure. I get what you're saying.
On a dynasty because the Oklahoma City Thunder should have definitely been a dynasty.
Yeah.
They should have definitely been a dynasty.
That's facts. That is facts. All because of $2 million, $4 million.
They didn't want to pay James Harden. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy talk, man.
Yeah.
So you got the Wolves. How many games?
I got the Wolves in. I'll say 7.
Okay. Yeah. I got Wolves in 7. I'm gonna pick Wolves in 7, but this was a tough series to try to figure out who was going to be able to, get the edge.
And by the way, I'm not confident in it. I'm definitely not confident in it. It's 80% bias. I'm clear on it. It is.
Yeah.
It is me wanting Anthony Edwards to become, take that next step to take the superstar.
Better get it now because you don't know what kind of moves these teams going to make. And I saw somebody on Twitter the other day say, and I think she's a Nuggets fan, and she said that in her belief, at some point this offseason, she think that team is going to make a major trade that's going to rub some people the wrong way. I don't know what people she's talking about. I don't know if she's talking about Nuggets fans. I don't know if she's talking about fans of the NBA, period. But she says she feel like the Nuggets are about to do something like drastic to the roster.
Like to get a star. But keep it a buck. Who you really getting rid of? I mean, the only person you're really talking about getting rid of is Michael Porter Jr. Because you're not getting rid of Jamal Murray. You're not getting rid of Joker.
Aaron Gordon?
Man, Aaron Gordon. I mean, respectfully, I know he's blended well.
No, I'm saying names that you could part ways with. You can part ways with Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, but I'm saying, Aaron Gordon, I don't think Aaron Gordon is going to hold the weight. He's an older player. He certainly fits in the system. Yeah. He's certainly playing well in the system, but I don't think like Michael Porter got star quality. I don't think Aaron Gordon has star quality. I think Aaron Gordon is a I don't think that's going to shake up anything if you trade him and got a star.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Michael Porter might.
Well, maybe they don't need a star. Maybe they don't need a star. Maybe they maybe they just need another X factor player that's gonna bring it all come together again, like did last year.
Sure, but what if I'm basing on what I heard you say? You saying that it's going to shake shit up. I don't think.
But like I said, I don't know if she was talking when she said people. I don't know if she was talking about Nuggets fans or she was talking about fans of other teams that have to compete against that team. I don't know who she was referring to.
Right, but who could the Nuggets get rid of that would disturb anybody outside of Aaron Gordon? I'm sorry, outside of Michael Porter, Jamal Murray, and Joker.
You don't think there's players that they could get that's better than Michael Porter Jr.?
No. I'm saying disturb Nuggets. I'm saying to get that star player, you would have to get rid of somebody in a trade. The only three players on that team that would disturb somebody. Departing.
Either way. You're saying either way. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be one of those three. Now, if you get rid of Jamal Murray, obviously, if you get rid of Jamal Murray and bring in fucking, I don't know.
That shakes something up. Yeah. If you bring somebody that's lower than him, then yes, you shake something up. If you get rid of Michael Porter Jr. and you replace him with somebody that's not as, up and coming as he was, then yes, that is a shakeup. But if you
got rid of Michael Porter Jr. and brought in a wingman like Chris Middleton, Chris Middleton.
What if they got KD?
Right. Okay, that's a great fucking example. If they
what if the Nuggets got KD?
Some people would shake shit up because some people would be mad at getting rid of Michael Porter because he's young. He didn't develop into what he would be.
Yeah.
Other people would be like, but nigga, that's KD.
Yeah, right.
But, you know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying.
That's
yeah.
KD. Yeah. So that's a good example. That's a good example. So Aaron Gordon leaving don't stir up nothing for nobody. He can but
it would be about who they replace him with.
I don't know
that would shake something up. Like KD, if that was the swap, if KD and Aaron Gordon was the swap,
we'd be singing celebrations. Nobody would be mad that Aaron Gordon left.
That would shake something up. Yeah, it would shake the other fans of the other teams that have to compete
because you said you don't know
Nuggets.
What she's talking about.
Okay. Right.
Okay. Well, is that person a Nugget insider?
Liv Moods. I don't know if she's a Nugget insider, but I follow her. I know.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, she does some dope content. I know she does a show out in Denver. She's from there, so she's Denver everything. So, but not sure if she's an insider, but I'm sure she knows some folks that do have some intel about the team and stuff. So that, when I said, she thinks the team is gonna do something drastic, that came from her words.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was done.
Oh yeah, some drastic shit. I believe that if they want to compete for championships, I believe something drastic should happen. And I would because it would hurt to get rid of Aaron Gordon again, and just to show him a little bit of love, to double back a little bit. It would hurt a little bit because what he provides on defense. But if you talking about like a KD, like
if it was KD,
nigga bye. We don't need that much defense, nigga bye.
If it was, you're gonna need some defense now.
Yeah, I get that, but
they could figure that out in other parts of the roster.
They'll figure the fuck out, nigga.
They'll just like other teams, they'll figure that out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that definitely would shake something up.
I don't know how much more you got, but I do want to shout out Usyk for beating the dog shit out Tyson Fury over the weekend.
That did happen.
It reminded me how irritated I am with Deontay Wilder that he wouldn't put look, man. I just needed him to have improving his boxing skill this much better, and he would have not. And I feel like he would have beat Tyson Fury. And he didn't. And I watched this Usyk kid he's been in the game for a brick. But it's not like I saw some overbearing boxing display put on by Usyk. He was the better fighter. But it just reminded me that, damn, Deontay, you really could have been the man if you would have just got a little bit better at your at the craft of boxing and not just knocking people out. Yeah. But shout out to Usyk, undisputed heavyweight champion, for putting that beat down on Tyson Fury. Looked old and confused.
I was gonna say, what's next for these guys?
I mean, look, man, you know, heavyweight boxing ain't really where it's been at, for some time now. So
that's an understatement.
Yeah, Tyson Fury, it's been Tyson Fury's monopoly. He's just been the man for however long he's been the man for. But it seems that there's going to be a shift there. Or there's been a shift there. I don't know how long Usyk is going to hold on to it, but there's certainly been a shift there. Shout out to him. And Deontay, man, I would love to see you. I hope you add it. I hope you in the gym adding components to your game. Even if he's still boxing, I don't even know if he's still boxing. I feel like he had a fight recently, or he was slated to fight recently. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Not sure. I mean, I saw the results of the fight. I just didn't really. Obviously, I didn't watch it, but I did hear that fight did take place. So so shout out to the homie. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
So did you get a chance to check out Cameron on CNN?
Yeah, and all y'all look CNN. Yes, I obviously I don't watch CNN, but I saw the clip this morning.
Yep.
Hey man, look, I don't know what y'all want Cameron to say, but Cameron has a history of this. I had to double back and listen again because I was seeing so many people saying that he disrespected that woman.
Abby Killa.
Abby, shout out to her. And I'm sitting here, I'm like, I mean, yeah, he was a little spicy with her, but I ain't hear no disrespect in the situation. And it was clear. I mean, it was so clear to me that I had to double back and make sure I wasn't tripping. It was so clear to me that his shots had nothing to do with the young lady and everything to do with the idea
producers.
That I even thought to call him at all about some puff shit. Could he have been mature about it? I guess, sure, but. No, I don't want to be mature about it.
The questions didn't warrant that. The questions really didn't warrant that. So I'll say this. Cameron got what he wanted because he got the marketing. He was able to promote the podcast and able to promote I forgot what's the product name? The pink powder? Horsepower. The horsepower stuff. Yeah, he was able to promote the product and the podcast and all that. So Cam got what he wanted. CNN got what they wanted. Because let's be clear. If you a producer of her show, and I don't fault her for anything. Like she's just
she did her job.
She did her job. I wouldn't even call her an innocent bystander in it. I would just say she did her job. If you a producer, you should have known that this dude was on Bill O'Reilly years ago on Fox News, and he was on 60 Minutes with Anderson Cooper years ago. And you saw how he reacted to that. So
more than that, it bothered me that they thought that he was the person that needed to speak out on Diddy. Why did you think Cameron was the person to speak out on Diddy? I mean, hell, it would have made more sense for you to bring Mace on. Why did you think Cameron was the person?
Because Cameron is, I'll tell you why. And it goes to my theory here in me saying that CNN got what they wanted. They got they got the views, they got the reaction out of Cam. CNN got what they wanted.
They knew he was going to say something flagrant, whether it was about Puff or it was about what he did. They knew that he was going to turn heads because of his personality.
That's why they got Cam and not Mace. They don't care about the story. They don't care about the relationship. They just want somebody to just, hey, let's see what he gonna give us. And if he give us something, cool. If not, cool. You know what I'm saying? Mace.
Well, I don't even know if it's cool. I think if he didn't give them anything, they would have been mad. If he just did a normal interview, but played a PC, didn't say nothing to, I guess further kick Puff back in, even though he deserves all the back kicking in that, that they want to give him. But like if he just would have did just a regular PC interview and they got off and that was the end, they would have been disappointed. They
Yeah.
wanted Cameron to be irritated, raise his
Yeah.
voice, that
Yeah.
type of thing.
That's
And
it.
it's like he said, we do a lot of positive shit over here. Y'all ain't asking me about none of that.
Yep. Right. Like I said, they don't care. They don't care about none of that stuff. They wanted the reviews and the reactions and wanted to go viral. And yet it went viral.
There you go.
Now I saw Jamel Hill speak a lot about this on social media today, and she does, and I kind of feel her from her perspective. She has a personal relationship with Abby Phillip, so she felt like Abby Phillip was kind of put in an awkward situation. It was the more so, hey, why'd you have to do this at the expense of a black woman, kind of a thing. So I kind of I understand, because that's her friend.
Sure.
Like, that's her friend.
Sure, I understand.
That's her friend. She's sticking up for Abby.
Sure.
She's been on that show. She's been on CNN, several times doing interviews. So she kind of knows like the whole, producers call you, they tell you, hey, this is what we're gonna talk about. These are the questions. We might, pivot to this. We might pivot to that. Like, she knows all that stuff. So I get it from her perspective. But at the end of the day, both parties got exactly what they wanted.
CNN set Abby up, and that's just the facts. I mean, and I don't mean set up where she was blindsided. She knew that something could happen or something wasn't going to happen. But she was the person chosen to do the job for whatever reason. I won't speculate. Whatever reason she was chosen to do the job, she was chosen to do the job, and she got what she got. But to sit here and act like Cameron did this to a black woman out of some sort of insinuation that or men hating black women or protecting black women. No, Cam didn't disrespect her, and Cam would have did that to anybody. And let's be clear: if it was a white person, Cam would have been way more egregious.
Yep. Absolutely.
So
it wouldn't have mattered.
He would have been egregious.
Bill O'Reilly, Anderson Cooper, people.
Come on. I'm definitely not jacking the whole attacking black women and protecting black. We not protecting black women. I'm not jacking that in this conversation.
We understand that the face of the program will always get the recognition. Abby, that's why Abby kind of is being talked about, because it's her show. It was her interview. She's the face. But the reality is that there's producers behind the scenes that set this up, that set these questions in place. And again, they got what they wanted. Both parties should be satisfied. They both should be satisfied. So
I agree.
So, I got one more thing, and in regard to the WNBA, and I've watched some games this past week, and I'm actually thinking about going to a Liberty game when we're up in New York next month. I'm thinking about getting some tickets. This investigation with the Aces, they gave out bonuses to all the players, and now all of a sudden the league wants to investigate the team for shelling out these millions of dollars for bonuses and stuff. I thought we were trying to grow the league. Right. Like I thought there were conversations about, women players getting more money, getting what they deserve, from a monetary standpoint. I thought that was the conversation. So now the team, the defending champs, the back-to-back defending champs, who have some more resources now, they want to compensate their players, and now y'all got an issue with it. Y'all want to investigate? Like the WNBA is doing too much for me in terms of trying to grow their sport. They're doing too much to get in the way of that, and I don't appreciate that.
I don't know all the ins and outs of the investigation. I don't know why it's being investigated. I don't know, so I won't go that far. What I would say is if they gave the team extra money, good for the team. Good for the girls. What you want me to say? They can't. You gonna tell them they can't get money, and y'all not paying them? Like, these motherfuckers is making the same type of money that I'm trying to, to currently make. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what I'm saying? Like, these motherfuckers are getting paid like they are not out here getting on planes, and it's like, let's stop. Let's just stop that. let's just stop that. Like, like stop treating these like they should be getting paid more. And it goes back to the conversation we've been having for years. Mm-hmm. I don't know how money comes in to say how it's supposed to be doled out. I know that they deserve more money. That's all I know. And if they can't get it because of money not coming in, okay, then we need to find a way to get the money in. You know what I'm saying? Like, mm-hmm. I don't. It's just that age-old conversation. Like, let these motherfuckers get money, man. Like, let these. If the money got to come from some means. Look, college used to do it all the time.
Yeah,
colleges. When you got a star player, you find a way to get them taken care of through gifts and etc. You know what I'm saying? Like, let these motherfuckers figure it out because y'all haven't figured it out yet. So if you as a league hasn't figured it out yet, and these girls deserve money, then nigga, get out the way. Let them get their damn money, man. Get out the way until you figure out how to get them some money. They got a right to go get money how they deserve to go get money. It's not like we talking about college where they can't get paid off their likeness. They can't receive gifts. Like the league can give, the team can give their players gifts. Like,
what they want, whenever they want.
Right. So it's just like I don't know what the investigation is. So I won't pretend to sit here and jack like, oh, like they not doing something illegal. Even if they are doing something illegal, what I'll say is that, hey, find a way to get these girls some money because they wouldn't be doing it if, well, maybe they would. Maybe team.
Even if you're right, and I kind of with you in the sense that even if they are, at least let it be an awareness kind of a thing. Like, if you gotta bust them because it is illegal, okay, do what you got to do, but at the same time, there needs to be some awareness behind it.
Let them get their money. Is all I'm saying. Let them get their money. However, if you ain't robbing nobody, if you ain't, you know what I'm saying, let them get their money, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hey, shout out to folks in the IG live chat, man. ABM's in the chat. We got Knox in here.
Yes, sir.
We got NYAP716 from Buffalo. Appreciate you.
What up?
Man, DeLeon, appreciate y'all, man.
Yes,
shout out to all the folks in the IG live chat. Shout out to the homie here. Reese was in the chat earlier on YouTube. Appreciate everything. Appreciate the views and the support from everybody out there. Continue to follow us on the platforms. At Barbershop Sports Talk Podcast is where you can find us on IG. At Barbershop SPOR2 is where you can find us on Twitter. At Maestro Styles is where you can find that guy right there, Maestro Styles. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Facebook page. Also, we're on Twitch as well. If you got questions, comments, just hit us up through the email, barbershopsportstalk1@gmail.com is where you can hit us up at. And also check out the merch store. We got the link in the description of the show, whatever platform you're watching us on. Make sure y'all check that out. We got hats, t-shirts. Trying to get some more things up on there. Definitely working on that. So that's it for the show, folks. My show as always, man. Another good show.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to doing it next week. Love, peace, and happiness to everybody out there. And as always, folks, mind your damn business.
Drink some water.
Oh, yeah, we got him. Trey, Frazier, and Maestro Styles, we got one. Right back like we left some. We don't duck smoke, we want all of it. So line them up, Trey sharp with the blade, we sizing it up. I'm quick to catch the fade, Styles making the cut. Cause we coming out clean every time that we showing up.
It's gonna be called The Barbershop.